So, hi everybody and welcome back. This is Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 21. And in this video, we are continuing with our game. But before we continue with our game, let's do a check how much time we have. I said that I finished this game before the Epic Mega Jam starts. And let's see when it is starting now. Here is it. And it starts in around 2 days. So I have 2 days to finish this game and release it. And yeah, you should join here and you see the numbers goes up and up. And yeah, I will join here too, but only to get free assets here. So I will not participate actually in this jam because I have no time in this week. But you should definitely join here because I already create a game here for demonstration purposes, which is not very exciting, but it's a little game for demonstration. So let's continue. Now we cleared this one and let's see what we have here. Here is our overview. Let's make our overview. So very simple, like old time. You can see that we finished this main menu. We are in gameplay. So now I know where I am, but of course, I have to watch a little bit more in detail where I am. So in gameplay, you can see I updated my list here a little bit because we finished this level design, we finished this character, very simple ones, but for our core mechanics, okay. And here we need now an obstacle because my character need to avoid obstacles, and later we need also an obstacle spawner, and perhaps we will add here more things if we need. So now I know where I am. I'm here at this point where I have to create an obstacle. In this video, we are creating this obstacle. Very easy, straightforward. And let's do it. We jump here to our game, and here I already created one. Here you can see it. This was my very simple obstacle. This is the square. And when I started, you can see it's going down. We make not the setup for the collision right now. What I mean with the collision is when it collides to my player. This one I will set up later when I go to the coding section and the gameplay section, because we have to set up also perhaps other things as well at the same time. So in this video, just creating this obstacle, set up the obstacle so that we can create in the next video the spawner who is spawning the obstacle. And then after that, perhaps we set up the player and the collisions and all this kind of stuff. All right, let's get into it. So we go here to our folder, our game folder. You create a new folder and call this folder obstacle. And then in obstacle, I have this test obstacle already here. I create a new one. I go here to right click, blueprint class here, and we choose actor. Why we choose actor? Because we want spawn or place something in the scene. Like you can see, I already placed something, but we want to change this in the next video. We want spawn it, and actor we can spawn, and that's why we choose actor. And this time I write BP obstacle, just obstacle. All right. And then you just open up this obstacle, and now we have to do something here. The first thing is some visuals here. That's why I'm here in viewport. I go here to the left side to the add. Here's an add button, and we add something. For a visual, I add just a static mesh, and then I write here static mesh. You can name it. I keep it just for demonstration purposes here, but it's not so important because I'm not adding so many things here and probably not using it later. That's why you can still name it. So here in static mesh, you select the static mesh, you go here to the details panel on the right side, down to the static mesh folder, and you can see now you can choose here in the drop down a static mesh. And here you can see this are the only static meshes in my content. One we created from the engine, but important, don't use the engine content because copy it to your content. The reason for that is we want to exclude later all the engine contents so that they are not in our folder. That's why copy this kind of stuff, or import external static meshes from other places where you use it. And yeah, I made it this way because I want to make it very simple and easy. So this time I use this cube. And the thing is, what I want to change here, you can see my cube is very flat. Let's change it, the scale of the y-axis here. So here's my cube. I select the cube here. This is my static mesh. I go here in the details panel here in transform, in scale, and write the y axis to 0.01. Here at this point, like I said, we don't care about the collisions, which is normally very important, but I want to set up the collision later when I test it with my player character. But first I want, like I said before, I want to create a spawner. Then the spawner is spawning this obstacle here, and then I set up all the collisions and play testing with my character. So this comes later. Here we just set up the obstacle. All right, but I need one more component for this obstacle, and this one is we use the movement component so that the obstacle can move as well. And it's called here projectile movement component. Projectile, when I can write it right, here is it. Projectile movement component, and you add this one. Now this obstacle can move, and how is it moving? First of all, let's see what I need here. I need nothing of this one. I use just this. So now the projectile movement, you select this one, and very important thing is here the velocity. Let's write velocity, and then when you write here velocity, it pops up here velocity, and you can see here velocity. This presentation here on top is a vector presentation. And I changed something that's not good. And then here these presentations are let's say a float presentation for every single value here in the vector, right? So why is this here important? Important for us is just these lines here, x, y, and z, because this x, y, and z are representing the axis. So this one is x is the x-axis, the other is the y-axis, and the other is the z-axis. So, and that means this velocity are presenting the axis, and now if you add here a number, it will give to this axis a number, which means it can move to this x. For example, by default, you can see here is x1. We don't want this. The reason for that is I want not move in the direction of x. You can see my x direction right now would be go here, and I don't want this. But perhaps later you can add creative components here to move here around additionally, but this is again creative part which we are not really implementing in this tutorial, because I will have probably not time, but you would make this afterwards if you have more time. So, and but we try to understand this one here. So, which means in our case, which direction I need? First of all, I see, I want to only go down in this case, not up, just down. So I need here, first of all, this z-axis. And what means down? That's also very important. We have found the axis which we want, and now we need to set up that we will down means minus and up means plus. So if you want to go up, you add, and if you go down, you make a minus, and that's very important. Why is this important? Because now, like I said, here the velocity, I can set up here the value because I want to go down, I need a minus, and now you can choose the value which you want. Let's start with 400, why not? And compile, save, and now we have created a movement just with that. How we can see that? So you go here to your scene, and this is the one I created. I place it this time here on this side, and you can see I need a little bit here adjustment. That's not so important, that we can do later as well. We use anyway a spawner. This one is just for demonstration purposes. And let's do it here on this wall side and a little bit up here. And when I start, you can see this one was anything 1000, and this one is very slow going down. And then we have to avoid this kind of stuff. This is the thing. So later when it comes down, I jump here and here, something like that. All right, we are really good to go. But that's really the basic setup almost. Why I say almost? Because of course you should change this anyhow. This was a hard value. Hard value means you can't change it right now, right? So you have set it one time, and then you have made an obstacle here, and then you set up here the velocity, but we want to change it. And how we change this? Very easy, actually. We have here this component, right? You can grab this component and bring it here. And now you have access all the properties which you can see here from this point here as well, which means we can use coding. And what I did here is just to showcase you that we can set this velocity here. And I think, yeah, this one is just a showcase. We can copy this one so that I don't waste too much time here to show you this. And what I did is I take this one just as a reference, so, and explain it step by step. So what you can do now is, like I said, we need to change these values perhaps. I set it by default. Velocity was, where is it? Hello. Here, by default, I set it to 400. This is just the start value. Perhaps I want to change it later. You make a level up. For example, after 5 spawns, you want to go on up level. Level 2, and then you make this value a little bit faster, set it to 500, level 3 you set it to 600, and so on. And this kind of stuff you can do now with this component here. And we will not make this level up now, because the problem is I need a spawner, a counter, and all this kind of stuff I will make with a spawner, I think. Not with the obstacle itself, that's the wrong place. But we can, I can show you how we set up this code here at least. So you have this code, and what you want to get is, first of all, you write just velocity, right? Like I write here velocity to get here the info, you write here velocity. And the problem is when you are here spawning many things, but what we need is this one here, a getter. It gets here one of these properties, and here we can get it and set it. In our case, first of all, we get it, and later we will set it. You can see here I have a getter and a setter. The problem is when we compare this to here, they look not similar. And like I said, this velocity here on the right side is a vector. This is the vector presentation with this 3, but we are not interested in this. We want this presentation because we are just using this set value here. That's why I use all time this one. You can of course break, there is another node to break this in parts, but use the simple one here, right click and split pin. Of course, this is the easy way, and the other way would be, I don't know, split. You can make here split, make, what is that? No, that's not. There is something like anything you can split this to. I forget the node. So don't worry, because I use all time this one, it's just faster. So it's so nice and convenient that I forget already the next other code. But there is one thing where you can make this also split this pin here in exactly the 3 parts here. But it's an additional node, and why we need this. All right, with that said, you can see now we have access to this one here because we want to change this one. Like I said, this value is set at start to 400, minus 500. And let's say we have a level up, and you want to change it, which means I get again the velocity. I write not the same. I mean, we get the same, but not get. We set this time. So set. You can see we have here again this vector presentation. Again, right click here, split spin, and now I have here the exactly same representation here. And the only thing what we want to change here is actually, like you can see, the set value, because set value is our up down value. And of course you can make later variations and something like that for gameplay, but right now for demonstration purposes we change here the set. And if we have a level up, then yeah, you will change this. And how we change this is very simple. You make just here something like that. For example, you just add to it or subtract or do something. I just add for demonstration purposes. And I add here just a value, but this value depends now on the level normally. Like I said, when you go one level up, then you must set up here a way that this one adds a value for the first level, and later you make a change. And that's why I said we are not doing it right now, because I need a spawner. And then I need a counter, level counter, I mean, perhaps a project obstacle counter, and then I set the level up, and then I will change it at this place. But for demonstration purposes, let's say we use a random number in range for this one, like I did in top. You can make, for example, random float in range in this game. and then this one will add to the default value. And important is, if you want to make it faster, you must add here a minus anything. Let's say level 1 we add minus 200, and you can see here's a range. But if you don't want a range here, you can just set both numbers at the same number, then you have not a range, then you have just one, exactly one number here. I make this one here just for fun. Probably you can make this one different too, but in this case it's just so that I can change this parameter later as well. Who knows? But right now I set it exactly minus 200 because min is 200, max is 200, so it will choose all time minus 200, and that will be added to our velocity here, which is minus 400, so we get minus 600 if we are calling that. And here we have to change now. Here we set the velocities. Here we get the projectile. Here we set our new value. Here I connect this one, and here it's not finished. Careful about this, because I set here just set means it means also that I have to set this x and y back. So which means we just take the default values which we get from here. Here is our default where we get it first time, and they are unchanged. The only thing what we changed is our set value, which means now this one will go down faster. And this one I just hook up here and event begin play. That one will change, of course, as well. Depends on our level setup. So let's say level 1, 2, 3, and then you make a different kind of things. But for demonstration purposes, you saw before it was a little bit slow. Let's demonstrate this. Start. It's a little bit faster. Let's add here a little bit more to see it a little bit better. Let's add here. Let's make it here a 7, minus 7. That should be much, much faster than the other one now. Let's compile, save this, and let's see. Yeah, it's faster than before, definitely. And yeah, that's the way to set up this system. We will change, like I said, but our obstacle is already set up. Of course, later we can make it more beauty and so. But like I said, this is in the creative part, not in our basic construction. And yeah, with that said, I stop this video, and in the next video we start with the spawner, because now we have an obstacle and we need to spawn this obstacle. There is one more thing to mention about this obstacle. You say, okay, this is just one obstacle. What about having different kind of obstacles? And in the runner creator, which I showed you at the start, he found a very nice solution for this one, because he's just using one obstacle and then he's scaling this after a spawn. So it depends on the spawn. He will scale it in random sizes. That's a very nice solution. Why it's so nice? If you have like something like a cube like me, which is all time the same, but you can use different sizes, you can just use one static mesh and then change, just like I said, just scale the size here to have different kind of obstacles. But this one works not if you have different kind of static meshes, like say you make it some beautiful some beautiful looking static meshes with nice colors. This one will not work there probably. But for this purpose, I will use this one version where you just resize on spawn the obstacle, and then you have a variation of obstacles. This one we will set up probably with the spawner. After the spawner, first we set up the spawner so that we can spawn at all an obstacle, and then at the same time we will set then after this one how to resize the spawned obstacle. All right, with that said, I think I stop here the video, very basic video again, and go to the next video where we will implement the spawner. So if you have any questions, any complaints like all time, write it in the comments. See us in the next. Bye, and like all time, don't give up and have fun.